Hi, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Astros, and I'm here to talk about game 128 of the regular season. Astros win 5-4 in a very sketchy game against the Texas Rangers. Because that's a thing that happens, right? But they win. Was it a pretty win? Not particularly. Do I care at all about pretty wins or ugly wins? Also not a win's a win. But tonight was interesting. The Astros this season are strange. And I went into a spiel earlier in the season about how weird they are. And, I don't remember what video that was, but it was earlier in the season. You can go back and watch like all 100,000 of the videos. It's somewhere in there, right? But the Astros are just strange with us. Like, the Astros are such a weird team. Because I don't think there are a lot of other teams that lead their division that when facing, no offense to these teams, because again, they're still better than, every other team that isn't in the majors, but pretty garbage opponents. The Astros just don't know how to hit. Like, you think too often that when, say the Giants are facing off against the Diamondbacks, they're sweating when they get ready to watch the game, going, oh boy, this is going to be a real challenge. No, they're expecting to slam dunk over them. They're expecting the Harlem Globetrotter all over the Diamondbacks. Yet the Astros, when facing teams like, say, the Orioles, who just finally snapped their 19-game losing streak the past couple days, so good for them. But when facing the Orioles, or the Rangers, or the Royals, just completely forget how to hit. But then when facing good teams, playoff teams, like the Athletics, except for recently the Athletics have sort of fallen off, the Mariners, who are looking like they might try to steal that spot from the Athletics, the Mariners are now only a game back of the A's for the wild card run. And that's only 4 games behind Boston, so Mariners are looking to make a go of it. Anyway, when facing good teams, the Astros can completely pummel them. They're a weird paradox where they're the guy in high school that for some reason can just completely dismantle the big bully. They can go up to the kid who's 6'2", 240, and just take his lunch money at will, yet can get taken behind the bleachers by the kid with crutches and get just punched in the face repeatedly. I don't understand why the Astros play this way, but that's the best way I can describe it. Early in this game, they're just not being able to do anything. Their pitcher, I want to get it correct because he did incredibly well this evening, and it was quite a surprise with how good he was. Glenn Otto for the Rangers, right? And here's the thing. Because the big excuse recently for the Astros facing these pitchers that we've lost against to the rough teams, mostly the Royals, has been, well, this is the first time the Astros are ever facing these guys. What do you expect? And look, I understand that you can look at film for hours on end, and that's not going to do anything, right? An hour's worth of film is not going to beat one pitch thrown to you in person by that pitcher. I get that. But it's not like these are great pitchers that have been veterans in the league for a long time that you're looking at film at. These are pitchers who are brand new or just not that good pitchers. In the case of someone like Mike Minor, again, not that good, meaning in the skill of Major League Baseball. Like, these are young pitchers. They're rookies that are just completely pummeling the Astros lineup. Glenn Otto, debut. This was his first career game. He went 5 shutout innings against a team that's going to go compete probably for a pennant and realistically for a World Series. I think on Baseball Reference, we're currently the favorites to win the World Series right now. And we got 5 innings shutouted against a guy that made his debut tonight with 7 strikeouts. And that's more so a testament to him and, kind of pointing out the fact that the Astros just, for some reason, can't do anything against young kids, even regardless of their ERA, cough, the entirety of the Royal Series. It's strange. It's odd. I don't understand how it is the way it is. Anyway, how did we get to the score tonight? Well, their pitcher was immaculate through 5 innings. I really cannot sing enough praises for Glenn Otto. He was magnificent tonight against a team who he apparently idolized growing up and loved the Killer Bees, which is kind of neat that he got to make his debut against that team. And granted, they didn't win, but it was not because of him, because he was masterful tonight. So, Royals get on the board. Royals. Boy, that series is burned into my brain. The Rangers, that's who we're playing, get on the board first in the 4th with a Justin Martin single to make it 1-0. Then, in the 5th, Andy Abaez homers to make it 2-0. And at that point, I start to sweat, going, oh, it's going to happen again, isn't it? A bottom-feeding team is going to beat us again. Then in the 6th, it really starts to come up like that. It just keeps on coming. Pozo, which is how I'm going to pronounce that, and I'm not even going to take a crack at that first name because I will only butcher it, doubles. Makes it a 3-0 ball game. Okay, I don't like that. Jose Trevino doubles after that to make it a 4-0 ball game in the 6th. And at that point, I'm kind of just crying on the inside, going, okay, so that's how it ends, huh? That's what we're going to do tonight? That's what we're going to do tonight, Astros. Okay, all right, just making sure. Just double checking. Now, after that, the Astros, thankfully, pop it into gear. 7th inning comes, you're down 4-0. I'm almost ready to throw the towel in on the game from irritation because we can't figure out bad teams. And the offense comes alive. Correa singled the lead off the inning. Great. Bregman walks. Great to see Bregman. Has anyone else noticed this? Has Bregman become just... To start the season, obviously he was still good, right? I'm not going to say that. But he was less disciplined to start the season. The past 2 days, he seemingly got his very, what's the word I'm looking for? His eyes have just gotten better. He's really pressing the issue on walks. He's being much more patient, and that's great to see because that's really how Bregman made his MVP nominated season in 2019. And, 5th in 2018 was just how disciplined and being very, I can't think of the word. I am special. It's just being, it's on the tip of my tongue, guys. Just, he's forcing the pitcher to make good pitches. That's how I'm going to phrase it, because I can't think of the word because I'm dumb and tired. Anyway, Bregman draws a walk. After that, pitching change. Kyle Tucker singles, they load the bases. There are no outs, which apparently, as we found out just a few days ago, doesn't mean that they're going to win. Now, luckily, Jake Myers comes up. Jake Myers, who has been raking since making his Major League debut. Man, oh man. The Astros, I saw this tweet earlier, which is the Astros have had a relatively low-ranked farm system, yet everyone we call up just rakes at this level. It's very strange. And maybe that's just because we have a few pretty good prospects and then everyone else is just sort of bottom of the barrel. But Jake Myers is just on a tear so far. I feel perfectly confident going into the playoffs with him potentially as the starting center fielder. Even if it's... He's not going to have 40 games under his belt, and I'm pretty darn confident with him. He has been phenomenal to this point. That made it a 4-2 game. Martin Maldonado, of all people, would draw a walk. Then Michael Brantley would single, score another pair, make it a 4-4 ball game to tie it up. Aledmus Diaz would line out, but Martin Maldonado moves over to third on this weird base running play that's just... how is Maldonado the most entertaining base runner in Major League Baseball? Not saying he's the best, I'm saying he's the most entertaining base runner in baseball, and I don't think people can argue that testament. Then... Yuli Gurriel into a force out, but he beats out the throw and a run scores. 5-4, the Astros take their first lead of the ball game, a little bit later than you might have liked, but I'm not going to complain too horribly, and then Yordan Alvarez would ground out to end the inning. But the 5-run inning would power the Astros to a win this evening. It was enough. Now, overall, decent game. The Astros' offense was fine. 5 runs is solid. 3 for 9 with runners in scoring position is a little lackluster, but it's okay. I'll take it. 5 runs is fine. Realistically, if this would have been a little bit more spread out, I don't think we would have been as mad. Just the fact that the first 6 innings were essentially just a snooze fest for the Astros. I think that's what really took the wind out of our sails. So, pitching-wise this evening. I thought Jake Odorizzi was fine. 5 innings, 2 runs given up, 5 strikeouts. Didn't walk anyone. He was very frugal with that. Frugal is the word I was looking for Bregman. Ha! I got it. I found it. I found it in the dark recesses of my mind. Back there with the sleep paralysis demon. I found it, guys. I'm still slightly there mentally. I haven't completely lost it yet. He was good this evening. Phil Maton was not great, but he got a pair of strikeouts. Phil Maton has stuff that plays... Clearly, he just has some trouble with it. I'm still confident in this guy, and I still think he was a very underrated pickup, especially with how good Jake Myers has played. Yimi Garcia came in for an inning. He was good. Only gave up 1 hit. Got a strikeout. He was good. Ryan Stennett came in, gave up a hit, got a pair of strikeouts. He was pumped up. Ryan Stennett, hopefully he can start straightening himself out again. Gave up that kind of rough inning Sunday, I believe. Yeah, it was Sunday. But again, I'm not too upset with him for that game. See previous video for explanation. Ryan Presley came in for the 9th. He got the save this evening. Gave up a pair of hits. Was super pumped up on a great double play to end the game from Correa to Yuli. Yuli might not get much love for that. That's definitely Correa-focused play. Yuli just totally outstretched getting that play. If he doesn't go full extension with his arm and just barely hanging on to the bag, that's not an out. The game continues, and who knows what happens. So, I don't know. I love giving props to first basemen because they're horrifically underrated on the field. Like, the first basemen get a bad rap defensively, man. They do good stuff. Yuli does good stuff. Yuli with his picks this season been great. But Correa, obviously, with that freaking dart over to him was beautiful. And the Astros get a win. And luckily for the Astros, the Oakland A's have sort of imploded recently. Going into the standing portion of this, because I want to mention it briefly before I end it, the Oakland A's have just fallen apart. 2 for 8 over their last 10. They've lost 5 in a row. They're about to lose a 6th, most likely, because the Yankees currently lead them 5-0 in the 5th inning. They're looking rough right now, which is the Astros' gain. The Mariners, on the other hand, have been really good as of late. The Mariners are kind of picking it up. The Mariners are now 7 games back for the division lead in our division, which you might say, Weston, that is a massive lead the Astros have. And I would say, well, yeah, you're kind of right, but the Mariners have turned my head. They are a solid young team, and I think next year, if not this year, because they could steal it, I mentioned it briefly with the wild card running, they're only 4 games back of Boston. They could make it this year, but I think next year, I would bet a good bit of money that next year the Mariners break their playoff drought. They're an interesting team to watch right now. But hopefully, by the time the evening's over, the Astros will have a 6.5 game lead in the division, which would be magnificent. Because I was looking ahead of the schedule a little bit. We play a lot of games against the Mariners and the Oakland A's in the last month of play, which could get a little hairy. But tonight we can rejoice, for the Astros get a nice win. Best win? No, but it's a win. And given this point of the season, when seeding, when everything's starting to come into play, I am not going to complain one little bit about it. So, that's all I have for you for this evening. Tomorrow's game is at 7:05 Eastern, 6:05 Central. We're going to send out Framber Valdez. He rolls in with a 2.94 ERA. He's been good as of late. They will send out Colby Allard. He rolls in with a 4.86, which is, hopefully we can beat up on the Rangers tomorrow and get another series win. That'd be ideal. And I'll be here after the game to talk to you guys. I am tired. So, thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. And as always, go Astros.